नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for today's Gita Pravaha session. We began the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita yesterday. In the 13th chapter, in the beginning, Arjuna asked Krishna 6 questions. The 6 questions are, uh, he wanted an explanation on the 6 terms. Kshetram, Kshetragnam, Jnanam, Gneyam, Prakriti, Purusha. Yesterday we saw Krishna's explanation on 3 terms. Kshetram, Kshetragna and Jnanam. Kshetra means the field or this Sharira, this body. Kshetragna means knower of the field. There are 2 Kshetragnas. One is the soul, second is the Supersoul. The soul who stays in the body knows the body to some degree. But the Supersoul who stays in the body knows this body and every single body of every single living entity completely. So 2 Purushas, 2 Kshetragnas. Third is Jnanam. Jnanam means to know about Kshetra and Kshetragna, means to know about the body and the 2 Kshetragnas, the soul and Supersoul. So to know about this body, the soul and the Supersoul is Jnanam. And there are different qualities that we need to cultivate to acquire that knowledge. Knowledge is not just an understanding of these technical terms. There is a process of knowledge. There is a process of acquiring that knowledge. That process is to cultivate humility, gratitude, compassion, pridelessness, truthfulness, and 20 other qualities that we have discussed yesterday. No false ego, detachment, equanimity, and simplicity, tolerance. There are some, and serving a bona fide guru, and most importantly, having unalloyed devotion to Krishna. Maicha ananya yogena bhaktiravyavicharini. So ananya bhakti, vyabhicharini bhakti we have to perform. So then we can get real knowledge. Vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yoga prayojitah janayatyasu vairagyam gnanam chayata haitukam. When you perform bhakti unto Vasudeva, automatically knowledge and detachment will appear in the devotee. So we have seen these 3 topics yesterday. We have 3 more topics to discuss in this chapter: Gneyam, Prakriti, and Purusha. So let's begin with Gneyam. The 13th shloka, Krishna says, Gneyam yattat pravakshyami yajnatmamritamashnute anadimat param brahma nasat nasattan nasaduchyate. So Krishna says, now I'll explain to you Gneyam. Gneyam means object of knowledge, that which is worth knowing, the knowable thing. Gneyam yattat pravakshyami. I'll explain to you about Gneyam. Yad gnatva amritam ashnute. If you know this, then amritam means immortality. Ashnute, you will attain immortality, deathlessness. Sorry. So, Anadi Paramam Brahma. So, knowledge or object of knowledge is in 2 parts. One is Anadi Mat Param Brahma. Brahma refers to a spiritual living being here. The spirit soul. Brahman, the spirit, which is Anadi, beginningless, is Mat Param, is subordinate to me, means dedicated to me. And that is object of knowledge. So, that is soul. So, soul is worth knowing. Then Nasat Tan Nasaduchate. This Matparam Brahma, this subordinate soul, the spirit soul or Atma, that is beyond the cause and effect of this material world. In this material world, you see a lot of causes and effects. In this material world, there is a lot of variety. That is material variety. But the Jiva is above all this material variety. Jiva is spirit soul. Jiva is spiritual in nature and a part of the Lord. Mat Param is dependent on the Lord. So that soul is object of knowledge. Means knowing that soul is very important for us. So Gnayam has two parts. One part is to know the soul. But there's one more thing that we need to know. Super soul also. Super soul also we need to know. Already Krishna spoke about the soul elaborately in the second chapter. And every now and then he is speaking about the soul in other chapters also. But he did not elaborately describe the qualities of super soul, Paramatma. So Gneyam means object of knowledge or that which is worth knowing, the knowable thing. And what is knowable? What is worth knowing? Two things, Atma and Paramatma. Atma he already explained. Now he is explaining Paramatma. Very beautiful shlokas are coming up now about Paramatma from the next chapter, next shloka, 14th shloka. सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत्. Pani is his legs, sorry, his hands. Padam means his legs. Sarvatah means they exist everywhere. So Paramatma is that divine personality who has his hands and legs everywhere. What does it mean? He has hands everywhere means there is nothing in this world that he cannot do. With our hands we do so many things, right? He has hands everywhere means he can do everything in this world. Then he has legs everywhere. What does it mean? There is not a single place which he cannot go. With our legs we go to different places, we walk. So Krishna has legs everywhere means he can walk anywhere. Everywhere he can walk. Then Sarvatokshi Siromukham, his Akshi means his eyes, Shira, his head, Mukham, his overall face, is everywhere. Means everywhere he has eyes means he can see everything. Even if you close all the curtains, even if they make the room dark, still he can see. Sarvato Akshi, he has eyes everywhere. There's nothing that he cannot see. There are default natural spiritual CC cameras installed in every campus, in every heart. He not only sees the physical events that are happening, he also sees the thoughts that are happening. He is the seer of physical events also. He is the seer of our thoughts, our desires, our feelings, our emotions, our plans, our attachments, our aversions. And if somebody is plotting against someone else, holding some negative attitude towards someone else, Krishna notices that, oh, externally he is greeting so nicely, wonderful, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, he is saying, but internally he is having some envy or some kind of bitter feelings towards this person. So Krishna notices all that. Paramatma. Sarvatokshi Shiromukham. Sarvatah Shrutimaloke. Shruti means ears. The Lord has ears everywhere. The super soul can hear anything. Even if you whisper something in someone's ears, Krishna can hear it. And even if you think of something, he did not even whisper it. You can think of something, Krishna hears that. Your thoughts also Krishna hears. And what does it mean? When you go and offer silent prayers to the Lord, Krishna is hearing those prayers. When a devotee sincerely offers prayers in front of the deities, Krishna is hearing those prayers. And the prayers are being answered at the right time. May not be according to your expectation. And Krishna also sees the sincerity with which we are praying. Sometimes we may pray, we may aspire for something very pure, but at heart we don't really want it. Right? Like Seva Adhikaro Diya Karo Nijadasi. Every day we pray in front of Tulsi Maharani. But we may say it, but we may not mean it fully. So we are not yet ready for it. Sri Radha Govinda, we say we want to be eternal servants of Radha Govinda, but we are not yet ready for it. So Krishna sees that, accordingly he will fulfill. So Sarvam Avritya Tishtati, he is all pervading. Avritya Tishtati means he is sitting by covering everything in every nook and corner of the universe. Then Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. Sarvendriya Gunabhasam means Krishna is the source of all senses. Sarvendriya Vivarjita means he is devoid of any material senses. Here Sarvendriya refers to all our senses and he is the source. He is the source of all the senses and their qualities and even their objects also. But Sarvendriya Vivarjita means he is devoid of any material senses. Asaktam Sarvabhrachaiva, he is unattached. Nirgunam, he is the master of modes and he is not controlled by modes. Nirguna means gunas cannot affect him. Guna bhoktrucha. So these are qualities of super soul. Many more qualities are there. Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam charamevacha सूक्ष्मत्वात् तद् अविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तम् इव च स्थितं भूत भर्तुर्च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णुप्रभविष्णु च. He says bahir antascha bhutanam, he is there inside and outside of every single living being. Acharam charamevacha, he is inside and outside all the moving and non-moving living entities. Don't think that super soul is there inside the moving living entities, but achalam, super, for example, a tree is there. It doesn't move. It stays there only, rooted at one place. At the max, when there is wind, there is a little bit movement like this, but tree doesn't walk. But super soul is there in the tree also. Super soul is there in the stone also, in the water also, in the ocean also. Sukshmavat, Sukshatmat, Tad Avigneyam. He is so Sukshma, he is so subtle that you cannot see him with your material senses. If the Lord is everywhere, why I can't see him? This is a question of so many people. Yeah, do you have that vision? He is so Sukshma, he is so subtle that you cannot see the Lord everywhere, although he is everywhere. Just like soul is so Sukshma. Oftentimes it's mentioned, you take one tip of hair and cut it into 100 pieces, take one piece and again cut into 100 pieces. That 1/10,000th of the tip of a hair is the size of soul. And you cannot calculate it. Is that really the size of soul? That is given in the scriptures to inform us that soul is so subtle, soul is so sukshma that you cannot see it with your material eyes. But that's not necessarily the size of the soul as such. Soul can be very big also, much bigger than this body also in terms of external size. Basically, you cannot have your material calculations or dimensions for the soul. You cannot measure the soul with your screw gauge or vernier calipers or any scales, etc. In the spiritual world, there are spiritual forms which are very divine and eternal. So that spiritual form of the soul cannot be seen through the material vision. Therefore, soul's size is mentioned like that in the scriptures. If the soul is so sukshma, soul is invisible to the material eyes, how can the super soul be visible to the material eyes? So he is so sukshma. Sukshmatvat tad avigneyam dorastham cha antikecha. He is so far, although he is very near. Super soul is closest to us. Who can be closer to you than a person who sits right in your heart? Super soul is very close to us, but is so far from us in the sense that we are not connected to Krishna. We are not connected to the Supreme Lord who stays right within our hearts out of His kindness, out of His mercy, out of His compassion, out of His concern for all of us. He's staying right within our hearts, within in any species. Now, your parents, your brothers, or your sisters, or your close relatives, or friends can stay with you only uh, for one lifetime maximum. From birth till death, they may stay with you maximum. But the super soul stays with us. Krishna stays with us in every single lifetime. In every janma, he is there with us as our dearest companion. Then, avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam cha ivasthitam. Vibhakta means to divide. Although he stays within the hearts of all living entities, he is one. He is one. Like oftentimes this example is given. Sun is one. But you keep 100 pots with some water in it, sun's reflection can be seen in every single pot. 1,000 people are walking on the road. Sun is shining on the head of every single person. Everybody is feeling that heat. If sun is giving heat to one person, how can he give heat to this person? How can he scorch another person? He can simultaneously scorch 1,000 people or 10,000 people. He has that capacity. Similarly, the soul also is one. Sorry, super soul is one. Krishna is one. But he has replicated himself into hundreds and thousands and millions of hearts as super soul. Just like you create one file in your laptop. Or you click one picture. This is easier to understand for people nowadays. You click one picture on your phone and you share it on WhatsApp to 1,000 people. Or you put it on social media, 10,000 people may see. You put on this Facebook or Instagram and 1,000 million people may see. So one picture only you have clicked. But how that picture is simultaneously existing in the devices of millions of people? If a JPEG image can simultaneously exist in the phones of millions of people, why can't Super Soul exist in the hearts of millions of people? He's everywhere. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's so sukshma. Next. Oh, there are so many qualities of Super Soul. If I go so slow, I can't complete the chapter. I will show you a summary table. 1 second. Yeah, these are the qualities of Super Soul. You can go through when you get time. Jyotishamapi tajyotihi tamasah param uchyate. Tamasah param uchyate. He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter. He is knowledge, he is object of knowledge, and he is the goal of knowledge. Gnanam, Gneyam, Gnanagamyam. So the Lord Krishna is Gnanam, he is knowledge. Gneyam, knowable or object of knowledge. Gnanagamyam is the goal of knowledge. Gamyam means destination that you need to reach. By cultivating all this knowledge, you need to reach Krishna. He's Gnanagamyam. But if you cultivate Gnana and don't reach Gamyam, what's the point of cultivating Gnana? People may understand so many things from the scriptures, from the Vedas, from the Puranas, but they don't reach God. They don't worship God. They don't take shelter of Krishna. Then this they just violated this one line. Gnanam, Gneyam, Gnana Gamyam. Gnana means Krishna is the Lord. Krishna is knowledge. Gneya means Krishna is the object of knowledge. Gnana Gamya means he is the culmination, he is the destination, he is the goal of all knowledge. By developing so much of spiritual knowledge, you are meant to reach Krishna, surrender to Krishna, take shelter of Krishna, worship Him, serve Him for the rest of eternity. That's the goal of all knowledge. If you just cultivate some technical, philosophical, intriguing knowledge, but if you don't take shelter of Krishna, our knowledge is like we are not getting the best out of it. So this is about Gneyam. What is the qualification to understand Gneyam? Iti kshetram tatha jnanam gneyam choktam samasatah madbhakta eva vijnaya madbhavayopapadyate. It's very clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita so many times. Only by bhakti you will get everything. You see, what did Krishna say here? Iti kshetram tatha jnanam. Kshetra means the Sarira, the body, we have seen yesterday. Jnanam, we have seen 20 elements of knowledge. Gneyam also we have seen knowledge of soul and super soul. So Krishna, so far, he answered 4 questions. Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Gnanam, Gneyam. But who can understand all this? Mad Bhakta Etat Vignaya. Only my devotees can understand this. Not just a scholar, not just a philosopher, not just a researcher. Only a devotee of Krishna. One who loves Krishna, at least one who is attempting to love Krishna, doing sadhana bhakti, such people can understand all these topics. If you want to understand the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is a part of Jnana Yoga, first you need to perform Bhakti Yoga, which is described in the middle portion of Bhagavad Gita. When you have devotion, you will understand all these technical topics in essence, right? Not in a scholarly way, in a philosophical way, but in a more spiritual and devotional way. Mad bhavayopapadyate. You will understand these technical topics and you will uh, also attain Krishna. Sometimes when we don't understand some super technical topics, don't feel disappointed. You will understand them soon when your devotion increases. When our devotion towards Krishna increases, we will understand even more technical topics if it is required for us to understand. Otherwise, even without such deeper technical understanding, also we can go back to Krishna when we have devotion, because bhakti is more important than gnana, and gnana is within bhakti. That's why in our very first class we gave that example of South Indian Brahmana. He was unable to even read Bhagavad Gita. He cannot read properly. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Oh Brahmana in Sri Rangam, whatever you understood from Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Because you have devotion to Krishna, you have love for Krishna, and you also have submissiveness towards your Guru. Because when we are submissive towards our spiritual master, our Guru, then that submissiveness, that obedience, that affection for Guru will eventually take us to a stage of loving Krishna." So, anyways, coming back to this, we have two more topics to discuss. That is Prakriti and Purusha. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhyanadhyubhava Ubhavapi Vikaramsya Gunamsaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. So, Prakriti and Purusha, two more topics. Prakriti means material nature. Purusha is the living being. Vidhi Anadhi Ubhavapi. Both are beginningless. Both are eternal. Although we say Prakriti is temporary material, why we say like that? Because that Prakriti is coming from Lord Mahavishnu in the form of this universe. And again, when he inhales, it goes back. So there is a beginning, there is an end. But after end, there is another beginning also. So when he breathes out, Prakriti begins to function. When he breathes in, Prakriti stops to function. But the point is, he breathes again. Again he exhales. And again he inhales. So this inhalation and exhalation of Mahavishnu is constantly happening. The creation and destruction of the material is also constantly happening. So after destruction, it's not that it's permanently destroyed. Again there is a creation. Thus Prakriti is also beginningless. Prakriti is also eternal in one sense. Material Prakriti also. Then Purusha is definitely eternal. The living beings are eternal. Now, before I proceed into later slokas, let me tell you, we know three things: Prakriti, Jiva, and Purusha. Right? Prakriti is the material nature. Jiva is the living being. And Purusha is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is a clear distinction made. But if you remember in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke about material Prakriti and spiritual Prakriti. What is that? Aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. That jiva is the spiritual Prakriti. Jiva is spiritual in nature. So Krishna counted jiva as Prakriti at that time. 7th chapter, 5th sloka. Aparayamitastvanyam prakritim vidhime param. This is para Prakriti. Who is para Prakriti? Jiva bhutam mahabaho. Jivas. Jivas are para Prakriti, Krishna said in the 7th chapter. But now Krishna is saying Jiva is Purusha. So the middle one, the Jiva is sometimes described as Prakriti, but sometimes also described as Purusha. Why is it so? Here, when Krishna said Purusha in the 13th chapter, he is referring to the Jiva. And he also refers to the original Purusha, Krishna also. The answer is, although the Jiva is Prakriti, although the Jiva is feminine in nature, although Jiva is predominated and controlled personality, not the controller, although Jiva is not Ishvara, still the Jiva has Ishvara Bhava. Although Jiva is not Purusha, the Jiva has Purusha Bhava. What is that Purusha Bhava? Purusha Bhava means a tendency to control, enjoy, think of oneself as proprietor, master, doer, enjoyer. I am the boss. That feeling is there in the Jiva. When the Jiva is in the mood of being a das, then he is in right constitutional position and our expected consciousness. But sometimes the Jivas are in the mood of boss, predominator. They are in Purusha Bhava. I am the controller. So therefore, acknowledging the Purusha Bhava in the Jiva, sometimes the scriptures describe Jiva as Purusha. But Jiva is not Purusha. Jiva is Prakriti. But Jiva that has Purusha Bhava. In this material world, so many living entities, conditioned souls, they have this Purusha Bhava, enjoyer mentality. Whether they are in the body of a Stri or Purusha, whether they are in the bodies of men or women, or Indians or Americans or whatever, that enjoying propensity is there, controlling propensity is there. Because of that propensity to enjoy, control, rule, lord over, the material nature, sometimes the jiva is described as purusha. So here purusha is the Lord and the living entity both. Okay, prakriti is the material nature. Fine. We'll discuss more about those qualities now. कार्य कारण कर्तृत्वे हेतुर प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखम सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते कार्य कारण कर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते prakriti, the material nature, is the cause of all karya karana kartrutva, means all the causes and effects in this world. But purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktrutve heturuchyate, but the purusha, the living being, the conditioned soul, he is the cause of sukha and dukkha. Now you see, an event is happening, and that event is causing happiness or distress in you. Clear? Why the event is happening? Because of prakriti. Because of material nature only something is happening in this world. Say there is an accident, or there is somebody cooked something, or somebody did something, somebody said something. All these are happening under the influence of prakriti. Prakriti is matter, and people are operating through material bodies. When somebody is fighting with each other, their physical bodies, which are made of matter, are interacting with each other. Sometimes somebody is fighting with each other internally, mentally, verbally. Means their subtle bodies are fighting with each other. Whether subtle bodies are fighting with each other or gross bodies are fighting with each other, both bodies are products of nature, matter, prakriti. So prakriti is making things happen in this world. But many events are being orchestrated by prakriti, are happening because of the involvement of prakriti. But that event has an impact on the jiva. Jiva may sometimes experience happiness or distress because of that event. So those experiences belong to the jiva. Actual events are happening under the influence of prakriti. Clear? That's what Krishna is saying here. Karya karana kartatve hetur prakriti ruchyate. Prakriti or material nature is the cause of material causes and effects. But purusha sukha dukkhanam, it is the purusha, the living being or the jiva, who is experiencing happiness and distress, and he is the cause of his own happiness and distress. For example, when you're eating a sweet, you get a very pleasant sensation on the tongue. You will feel very happy. Of course, I'm speaking about some people who like sweets, right? Uh, that your tongue is coming in contact with a sweet object, kheer or some sandesh, and that is giving a pleasant sensation. And that is totally sense and sense object, material interaction. But that is giving you some happiness. The jiva is getting some happiness by the interaction between his sense and a sense object. Right? He's the experiencer of that happiness. Similarly, when he eats something which is not so edible or some very heavy spicy stuff, he has some tears in his eyes. So that unpleasant experience is experienced by the jiva, distress. You eat something, you get distress. You eat something else, you get happiness. So this happiness and distress are being experienced by the jiva because of his own enjoying propensity, controlling tendency. So Prakriti is doing many things in this world, and Purusha is being the experiencer. Now, what is the relation? Now, in this next shloka, Krishna says, Purusha prakristho hi bhungte prakritijan gunan karanam guna sangosya satasadyoni janmashu. Because of these experiences, Purusha is undergoing something undesirable. What is that? Purusha prakristho hi. The living entity in the material nature, this follows different ways of life. Bhungte prakritijan gunan. Bhungte means he enjoys, he experiences what? Prakritijan gunan. The gunas, the qualities. Sattva, rajas, tamo gunas, which are born out of Prakriti. So whatever happiness and distress we experience in this world is a product of material gunas. Some people experience sattva-guni happiness. Some people experience rajoguni happiness. Krishna talks about different types of food in the later chapters. Some people enjoy sattvaguni food items. Some people enjoy rajoguni food items. They want spicy, pungent, hot, and these people want very juicy, fatty things, right? So foods are in different modes. Places are in different modes. People are in different modes. Works are in different modes. Intelligence is in different modes. Determination is in different modes, which Krishna is going to describe in the later chapters. So Prakriti and Guna, the gunas, the modes are influencing so many things in this world, and that is giving some experience to you, some impression to you. And because of being attached to those impressions or experiences, we are making friendship with the modes. Karanam gunasangosya. We are associating with those modes. So when you open YouTube and see some passionate video, that gives you some kind of relish or happiness. Oh, then you start associating with this. Oh, this is very good. This genre is good, or this flavor is good, or this channel is good. So you just associate with that mode, that mode for a long, long time. And that creates a lot of impression on you, on your mind, that creates some thoughts and experiences in your mind that will transform into desires, aspirations, goals that will decide our next life. Simple. That's how the next life is decided. Sadasadyoni janmashu means we will meet or we will enter Sadyoni and Asadyoni sometimes. Good species and bad species. Of course, all species are bad in one sense because they're material. But some higher species, some lower species. Some evolved species, some ignorant species. So, repeated birth and death is taking place because of our enjoying propensity through the modes of material nature. That's the point. That's how Jiva and Prakriti are connected. Prakriti is material, Jiva is spiritual, right? How can there be combination between these two? Because this Prakriti is orchestrating events and Jiva is experiencing happiness and distress, and all the happenings under the influence of Prakriti are impacting the Jiva, and Jiva is developing aspirations and thoughts and desires and getting more entangled in this Prakriti. That's how Prakriti and Jiva came together. Combination. We are combination. There is soul inside. There is body outside. Prakriti and Purusha are like so closely connected here. How to disentangle this Purusha from the Prakriti? How to cut this bonding between the soul and the body or the material world? Bhakti. Bhakti cuts that bond. Sneha pasham imam chindi dadham pandushu vrishnishu. There is pasham, there is bandha. But for that, we need to take shelter of Krishna. दैवी हेषा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्यय मामेव ये प्रपद्यन्ते मायामितां तरन्ति ते. Now we spoke about one Purusha, which is the soul, but there is another Purusha, the real boss, not this imitation boss. We call the Jiva Purusha because he thinks that he's boss, but we are calling Krishna Purusha because he's actually the boss. Now we are seeing the real Purusha. That is, real Purusha is the super soul. We have seen earlier, right? Kshetragna. Kshetragna is soul who knows the body. But Kshetragna in reality is super soul who knows the body thoroughly. He knows everybody's body thoroughly. But soul knows only one body, that too partially. So there is one mini Kshetragna, there is one mega Kshetragna. Similarly, there is one mini Purusha, there is a mega Purusha. Or there is a imitation Purusha, there is a real Purusha. We spoke about the imitation Purusha now. Now we'll speak about the real Purusha, the super soul. उपदृष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. Upadrashta. That super soul, the supreme Purusha, is Upadrashta, overseer of all our activities. Anumanta means he gives Anumati, he gives permission, he sanctions. Bharta, he is the master. Bhokta, he is the enjoyer. Maheshwaraha, he is the proprietor. Basically, Krishna spoke all these things before also. Same terminologies. Bhoktaram Yajnatabham he spoke. Sarvalok Maheshwaram he spoke. Same thing is coming here also. So Krishna is all this. Paramatmeti chapyukto, that Supreme Lord becomes a Paramatma in your heart. Dehesmin Purushaha Paraha, that is the Parapurusha. We Purushas, so-called Purushas, are not transcendental. We are being called as Purusha because we are trying to control Prakriti. But our being Purusha is not our real description. Constitutionally, all of us are Prakriti. But conditionally, all of us act like Purushas. That's a problem with us. Constitutionally, we are all Prakriti, we are Jivas, we are feminine, we are Amshas of Krishna, we are supposed to be serving Krishna. But conditionally, we want to control the material nature, imitating Krishna in one sense. Then next shloka. Ya evam vetti purusham prakritim sagunai saha sarvatha vartamanopi nasa bhuyo bhijayate. One who understands this philosophy about the jiva and prakriti and the interaction of modes, sarvatha vartamanopi, regardless of current situation, he will not take birth again. So we need to understand how prakriti is functioning, how purusha is functioning, how gunas are functioning, what is the real identity and job profile of a jiva. When we understand all this, and not just understanding theoretically, when we apply it by performing bhakti yoga, then we will not take birth again. We'll be relieved from this birth and death cycle. That is the 24th sloka. Then in the 25th sloka, Krishna says, there are other methods also. Some people meditate on the Lord. I cannot recite all the slokas at this moment. We have less time. So Krishna says, in the 24th sloka, Krishna spoke about the result of this knowledge about Prakriti, Purusha, Gunas, etc. In the 25th sloka, Krishna talks about the different methods. Like Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga is there. Sankhya or Gnana Yoga is there. Gnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga. So we discussed about three methods, right? Some people see Paramatma through their meditation, through Dhyana Yoga, and others try to connect with the Lord through Gnana, cultivation of knowledge. And some people do their prescribed duties, fruitive desires, fruitive work, that is Nishkama Karma Yoga. So three things: Karma Yoga, Gnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. But 26th shloka Krishna says there are some people who perform bhakti yoga. They acquire knowledge through bhakti. By hearing about the Lord. Shruti parayanaha. Krishna uses the word Shruti parayana in the 26th shloka. Shruti parayana means one who hears faithfully from authoritative persons, from devotees. Such people can really acquire real knowledge. And that is basically Krishna answered all the six questions. He spoke about Gnanam, Gneyam. He spoke about Kshetra, Kshetragna. And he also spoke about Prakriti and Purusha. Now, in the last few shlokas of this chapter, Krishna talks about someone who has that Gnana Chakshu, that vision of knowledge, one who understands these six terms properly. What is his consciousness? Uh, First thing we need to understand, according to 27th sloka, Krishna says that everything in this world is a combination of Prakriti and Purusha. Prakriti is material nature, Purusha is the Supreme Lord and the Jiva, right? Or in other words, Purusha is the Supreme Lord, Prakriti is Jiva and material nature both. Whether you put Jiva in the Prakriti category or Purusha category, Jiva is there in this world. So, in the material world, everything that you see is a combination of Prakriti and Purusha. Ultimately, Kshetra, Kshetragna also is Prakriti, Purusha only. Kshetra is Prakriti, Kshetragna is Purusha. Or one Kshetragna is Prakriti, other Kshetragna is Purusha. Atma is Prakriti and Paramatma is Purusha. So that way, Kshetra, Kshetragna, Prakriti, Purusha both are same. And Jnanam, Gnayam also is ultimately knowledge of these three personalities only. Prakriti, Purusha and Jiva. Thus, in these six terminologies, there is a lot of overlap. So much of overlap is there in these six terminologies. Prakriti and Kshetra are like connected to each other. What is Kshetra is the Sharira. Sharira is a part of Prakriti. Right? Prakriti and Sharira are connected. And Purusha and Kshetragna, they are connected. Purusha is Atma and Paramatma. Kshetragna is also Atma and Paramatma. Right? Thus, the first pair and last pair has a connection. And Gnana or Gneya basically means to understand these two pairs of Prakriti Purusha and Gnana Gneya. Sorry, Kshetra Kshetragna. Now, next shloka. 28, yeah. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyasva vinasyantam yah pashyati sapashyati samaha sarveshu bhuteshu. One who has this knowledge, he understands that the super soul is equally disposed to all living entities. Tishtantam parameshwaram. He is Parama Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, who is equally disposed to all living beings. He resides in the heart. Tishtantam means he resides within the hearts of all living entities. And that soul nor super soul is ever destroyed. Vinashyastu avinashyantam. Something which is made of Prakriti has a beginning, has an end. So this mouse is made of Prakriti, right? This is functioning now, and after some time it may not function, right? But soul is Soul has no birth, soul has no death. There's no destruction. Soul is eternally existent. Yaha pashyati sapashyati. One who sees this or one who understands this is the real seer. Mhm. Mm. Oh, this samam pashyam hi sarvatra samavasthitam nahinaskyatmanatman atmanam tato yati param gatim. One who sees everywhere in every living being the presence of Ishvara, the Supersoul, does not degrade himself by his mind. Tato yati param gatim. He approaches the param gati, the supreme destination of Krishna's lotus feet in the spiritual world. Mhm. Uh, So basically, in the last few shlokas, Krishna is giving the result of knowing all these things and acting according to this understanding. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamānāni sarvashah yah pashyati tathatmānam akrita akartaram sapashyati. Prakrityaiva cha karmani. All the activities are being carried out by Prakriti. We need to understand that. Yah pashyati tathatmanam akritartham sapashyati. So uh, one who sees that the self is not acting, but the jiva is not acting, but Prakriti is acting. Prakriti is the doer, jiva is not the doer. Jiva is sometimes described as a doer in the sense that jiva desired that activity, but the actual activity is being carried out only by the influence or facilitation of that Prakriti. You may desire to make some food item, but unless the Prakriti gives you so many ingredients, how can we even cook it? You may desire to construct a big building, but unless the Prakriti offers the ingredients, whether it is bricks or sand or cement or iron or whatever, we cannot do. And also, the Jiva may desire something, but without the body, Jiva cannot do anything. As I said sometime back, some Jivas, they move around without bodies. They are ghosts. They cannot do much without body. Prakriti has to provide a body. Sometimes these ghosts try to enter into some material bodies or some people who have some weak heart or etc. and try to get things done through their bodies. Because without Prakriti providing a body, the jiva cannot fulfill its desire. So everything is being carried out by Prakriti. Without body, we cannot do. Some people want to sing, but somehow they have a throat problem. They cannot do. This throat is what? A manifestation of Prakriti. You want to see something, but you have some eye pain. Your eyes are not functioning properly. Means Prakriti is not facilitating for your vision. You have a desire to do something, but Prakriti has to facilitate everywhere. In that sense, Prakriti is the doer. Jiva is not the doer. So, one who cultivates that spiritual vision must see oneself distinct from Prakriti. I am different from this body. I am different from this world. I am different from everything material around me. I am spirit soul. I am supposed to love Krishna. And whatever abilities Krishna has given me to control this Prakriti, let me use that ability to engage that Prakriti in Krishna's service. We have some control over Prakriti to some degree. We can always go and pluck a flower from the tree. The tree is Prakriti. The flower is Prakriti. Our body is Prakriti. We are operating with Prakriti. But take that flower and offer it to Krishna, we are doing a spiritual activity. But somebody can control Prakriti in a different way. They utilize it for sense gratification. They will be entangled more in Prakriti. So, yeah, the soul is actually the non-doer, and thus he is not entangled. If he realizes that he is non-doer, but if he does things with a enjoying propensity, controlling mentality, he will be more and more entangled, right? So with this, let's go to the last shloka. Sorry, I kind of summarized last few shlokas, but we cannot discuss everything in Pravaha. 35th shloka. Kshetra kshetragnayorevam antaram jnanachakshusha bhutva prakriti moksham cha ye vidur yanti te param. One who understands this kshetra and kshetragna nicely, one who really understands this chapter and all the technical explanations that Krishna has given, and of course acts according to that understanding, such a person will be liberated from the bondage of this material nature. So Krishna concludes this chapter with that. And tomorrow we'll discuss the 14th chapter, the modes of material nature. This is relatively simpler. 13th chapter may seem technical, but the essential message is simple. Prakriti, Purusha, and Jiva. Three terms. The six terms can boil down to three terms only: Prakriti, Purusha, and Jiva. The Lord, the soul, and the nature. So we need to take shelter of the Lord and come out of the influence of this material nature. That's the essence of 13th chapter. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.